Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This video I'm going to be talking about my military experience or my experience in the Army. If you want to know why I joined the Army, you should check out my college experience video, which will be linked in the description box. So I joined the Army in 2011. I saw a recruiter in March 1 week, and the following week I went to MEPS. At MEPS, that's where we did our physical exam, took the ASVAB, and chose our job. At first they was trying to tell me that the only thing available was intelligence, but I didn't think I could get a security clearance, so I was like, I can't do that. So they looked around and finance was available, so I decided to go with finance. Of course, after that, I didn't find out that I wasn't leaving for basic until September. I thought, I'll be leaving like in a couple of weeks or something, because I hear that with some people, they go 1 week and then like the next day they get shipped to basic or something. And so in MEPS, the physical exam, that was an experience. And so like all the females together, we were doing like these different exercises and stuff in our underclothes, so they could see everything. And then at one point we had to be examined individually, because you had to make sure you didn't have like hemorrhoids and stuff like that. The ASVAB was, I would say it was easy for me anyway. I was rushing because I felt like I didn't have enough time, and I finished early. Like I didn't have to go as fast as I went. It was like an all-day experience. They served as lunch, and yeah. And then I just called my recruiter to come pick me up, and that's basically it. So when it's time for me to leave for basic, we first went to reception. We was there for like maybe 2 days. That's just where we got all of our military gear, got shots and set up like our SGLI and other stuff like that. They had us separated the entire time by male and female, so we only saw like the males in passing. When I went to basic, so like day 0, we were getting smoke. We got smoked basically the entire day. People were like passing out, throwing up, quitting, or trying to quit anyway. For some reason, they make it really hard for you to quit. Like, you just can't decide that you're not going to do it anymore. Like, it's probably harder to get out than to actually get in. I think someone threatened to call the police because he wanted to quit. And I actually think though that he ended up staying or something. I don't know. So for me, basic was, it was tough physically. Like, I don't know. It was really hard for me to do some of that. I mean, I could do everything, but it was just like I was in a lot of pain. And there's some things that if you go to like the CMTC to get checked out, more than likely you might get sent home. Some people were able to come back, like they went on convalescent leave and they was able to come back for like to a different class and continue. Other people, they just got out. So I went to Fort Jackson for basic. People like to refer to it as relaxing Jackson, but that is a lie. There's nothing relaxing about it at all. At least not in my company. Like, the female drill sergeants were the worst. Like, seriously. Like most of the males were pretty chill. Like, they didn't mind us talking. They wouldn't punish us for talking. Unlike the female drill sergeant, especially one in particular. Like, her favorite thing was having us run up and down the hill. So she would count, and every number was how many times we would have to run up and down the hill, just because she didn't want us talking, or she had a headache, or whatever. Um, Being in a bay with a bunch of females, that was the worst. That was, I hated that. There was just so much pettiness, but apparently that was also going on in the male bay also. Like, I heard things they did to some of the males, I was just like, no. um, so the shower situation, there were stalls, but there weren't doors. There's just like wall. I think there's maybe 6 or 8 stalls. So you could basically see everybody showering. If you were, it would probably be best to have like the last 2, because you didn't see, like most people couldn't see you. While I was there, we did get to go to a concert. Well, most of us did, and there we had like pizza and candy. Um, Most people just went just because they didn't want to. I mean, it was a country artist, but but most people just went anyway because pizza and candy. We didn't really get any of those things. The food there, for the most part, was horrible except for breakfast. Breakfast was the best meal, so we would always like try to fill ourselves up with breakfast, and we would always be counting down to when breakfast was. Because dinner was horrible. It was disgusting. Some people found ways to sneak food, like crackers. They would sneak like honey packets and stuff like that. Sometimes if you would go to like the hospital, they had like vending machines where people would bring candy back and stuff. While we were there, while I was there was like a group of people like that they call holdovers. They had to like redo a portion of the basic, so they ended up missing their start date for AIT, so they had to wait till the next class started. So they would be there basically doing nothing. They would show up for like formation. They slept in the same bay as us, but they didn't do any training with us because they were already done with basic. But we found out later that one of them was actually like CID because they were investigating the people that did our laundry. Because I guess they were like selling weed or something. I don't know. There were times when I thought about quitting. I was like, I can't take this anymore. But I ended up sticking it out. I finished sometime in November. It was before Thanksgiving, I remember. And then went to AIT, which was also at Fort Jackson. So, I think I was there maybe a week or 2 at AIT before Thanksgiving, and you were able to they actually let us go home if you wanted to, but I just stayed. No, actually I think I did go somewhere for a day or something like that. AIT was way more relaxed for the most part. We got to use our cell phones in the evening. We couldn't take them to class. We basically spent most of the time in class, learning skills for our MOS. And my class instructor was really cool. He was a really chill guy. We had fun in that class. We also had Christmas Exodus during that time. We had like 17 days of leave that you could take if you wanted to. Most of us ended up in the hole because we didn't have that many days. I decided to take it and went back home. I enjoyed that time off. Some people stayed. They didn't do any like training or anything. I think they went to like a basketball game and they just did activities nearby. Also, while I was in AIT, I was on funeral detail, so we would have practice after class, and we did have to go to a funeral and perform there. I was on the firing squad. So we would get passes, like as long as we behaved well and stuff, we would get weekend passes. In the beginning, you just had to stay on post and come back. Like, we have a certain amount of hours that you were free, and then you would come back. And then we had like 2 or 3 weekend passes where we could go off post, sign out for the entire weekend, and then come back. we went to the field for like a week, and we just did mainly our MOS specific activities in the field environment. Um, that was pretty easy. I found out in December where my first duty station was, and it was Germany. I'm gonna say that in my class, most of the people were like in National Guard or Reserve, and there was maybe 6 or 7 of us that were on active duty. I was the only one that was going to Germany. I think 3 people originally had Korea. One of them, she ended up switching hers somehow. One went to Fort Carson. The one that switched hers went to Fort Hood. And 2 went to Fort Drum. I also was the designated honor grad, and that's where I got that print from. I got a coin in AAM. It was really close. It was like a point between me and the next person. So, uh, since I was going to Germany, uh, we graduated on a Friday, but I didn't leave till like Monday because you could only arrive or leave in Germany on Tuesdays if you take a government plane. And well, I didn't really have much of a choice. So I was there by myself for a couple of days. I think the last person left like Saturday or something like that. A lot of people left like Saturday. And I was the last one in my class that left Monday. Um, I had 3 flights. That was my first time actually being on a plane. Was when I was going to Germany. So that was a little nerve-wracking. I had 3 flights that day, and I ended up missing like the second flight because they changed the gate, and I didn't know that. But luckily, I had enough time to catch another flight, and I made it to the 3rd plane on time. So Germany, we didn't do any finance there, like none. um, I was the last junior soldier to arrive, which we didn't know at the time, but because our unit was getting, my detachment was getting deactivated. After me, there was like a staff sergeant and a lieutenant that came, and that was it. Slowly, people started leaving, and we got smaller and smaller. We started closing offices because we wasn't using them anymore. So we went to the field a couple of times, like the whole company. We went to the range a lot for like soldiers' time training. Most of the time, we went to the range. Since we didn't really do any finance, we spent most of our time doing correspondence courses or working on degrees, like doing schoolwork basically. Um, our detachment commander encouraged us to like go traveling. He would sign a pass like the day before you wanted to take it. So I went on a couple of boss trips. I went to London, Poland, and Barcelona for boss trips, and then I took some leave by myself, and I went to Ireland and Athens, and I did come back to the States. Even though our detachment was small, there was still drama. Like, yeah, I wasn't really friends with anybody really, except for like one person. um, uh, since we ended up deactivating, we had to get rid of all of our stuff and decide where we were going. Germany, if you're a single soldier, it's supposed to be 2 years, and if you're married or have dependents with you, it's supposed to be 3. And I didn't quite make it to 2 years, so I wasn't sure if I would have to stay and go to a different detachment in Germany, or if I would be able to go to a completely different duty station. It was really close. Like, some people were saying that I would have to stay, but I was able to leave. They told me that the only places available was like Bliss or Drum. I wanted Alaska, but in Alaska they wanted someone who had deployed, which I didn't. So I chose Drum. There were some other people that I knew that were at Bliss, and that's why I didn't want to go there. And I thought Drum, New York, right? But so I was the last one to leave Germany also, because I couldn't leave till Tuesday, but I didn't find that out until like the previous Wednesday. So I had all that time to do nothing basically, because I had already finalized out. So I was just staying in my room the whole time. So I took like 5 days of leave when I came to New York. I stayed in New York City, and that was fun. But Drum is nowhere near New York City. It's closer to Alaska, like 30 minutes away from Alaska. I think NYC is like 5 hours away. So Drum, we actually did finance, like a lot of finance work, and it was a complete unit. So all the detachments were together, as opposed to Germany where we were in different locations. So it was quite a lot of people. There were some people that I knew. Still a lot of drama, like relatively finance like units are small, but the number of people that got in trouble, like it's just ridiculous. Like I can't, I don't think I could say exactly what some people did, but some of them ended up getting kicked out the army. Like they got a type 3 discharge because of what they did. It was serious. It was just a lot of drama. So, um, when I first joined the army, I had thought that I was going to stay in for 20 years and then retire. But that changed like immediately when I got the basic. I was like, the army is not what I thought it would be. I don't know what I thought it would be. My recruiter didn't really tell me anything. But I thought it was going to be like a regular job. You just go in, do your work, and go home. That's it. You know, your personal life would be your personal life. That is not the case. No. Especially if you're a single soldier that has to live in a barracks. They're all up in your business, okay? Like, this is not for me. I'm too old to be treated this way. And I miss my freedom. I miss being able to travel and go wherever I want to, whenever I want to. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, technically, I am still on active duty right now. I'm just on terminal leave, and I've been on terminal leave since June 8th. And my ETS date is until sometime in August. And I did join a reserve unit, so I will be drilling 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks during the summer. And since I was in the delayed entry program, that time does count towards my overall military service obligation, because I signed an 8-year contract and just 4 of those years were supposed to be on active duty, meaning I still had like 4 years left. But they count the delayed entry time, so I only have like 3 years and 7 months left. I don't know if I'm going to continue to stay in the reserves until retirement. I thought about doing that. I figure, you know, because you get full retirement benefits, you just get it at a later time. So I may do that, depends. I'm not sure. But that is my army experience. If you have any questions or want to know anything more specific, leave it down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later.